Hey everybody, it's the Library Lady with you today on another great book for What's the Story. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you are new, make sure you click subscribe so you don't miss out on any great titles. I created this channel back when COVID started. As a former classroom teacher and elementary school librarian, I really wanted to help parents and teachers who are looking for some new books and keep the kids engaged in reading and share my passion and the joy of reading with you. So stay tuned for after the book preview so you can get some of these activities and ideas that are connected to today's text. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We have books from the Who Was series. Now, Who Was or Who Is, you may have seen before. They pretty much have anyone of historical significance or even in the entertainment industry and sports industry as well. And so these are great. They have these caricatures on the front. Kids love the front covers of them and can find just about anyone along those lines. And so I'm going to share a little bit from George Lucas today, but again, Who Was Babe Ruth is another example of one of these great books. So chance to explore biographies, get your child exposed to that genre, and then learn a little bit along the way. So let's take a little book look about how these are set up. This one was published in, 2014 by the Penguin Random House Company. They are set out with a layout of table of contents, starting with a little introduction, and then it starts at their childhood and continues through their life. So they do have a fair amount of text, nothing too heavy, and then they do have some black and white photographs and illustrations along the way to keep some visual elements to the story. So in 1977, film director George Lucas invited some friends to his house in San Anselmo, California. He promised to show them an early unfinished version of the new movie he was making. George had been working on Star Wars for 18 hours a day for over a year. Can you imagine? George settled everyone in front of the screen where they watched Luke Skywalker battling Darth Vader over the dreaded Death Star. They met the droids R2-D2 and C-3PO. They learned about the Force, the mystical power that the Jedi Knights used to control the world around them. When the movie finished, everyone was thinking the same thing. It was a disaster. After the screening, one friend wasn't afraid to tell George what he really thought. Brian De Palma, another young director, teased him relentlessly about the almighty Force and the questionable wardrobe choices. "Hey George, what were those Danish rolls doing in the princess ears?" he asked about Princess Leia's soon-to-be famous hairstyle. Even worse than De Palma's teasing was the pity expressed by George's other friends. Always shy and quiet, George simply listened to the criticism. Steven Spielberg thought the movie was good, but George had already accepted that it was a failure. "I figured, well, it's just a silly movie," he said later. "It ain't going to work." After the screening, Alan Ladd Jr., the studio executive who had given George the money to make Star Wars, called Spielberg and asked him what he really thought about the movie. "I think this film is going to make $100 million, Spielberg said. "People will love it." Spielberg was right. People loved Star Wars. What he didn't know was that Star Wars would become much more than a hit movie. It would forever change the way movies were made. And I think it's all fair for all of us to say it's made quite a bit more than a few $100 million. Please note too that this is an unauthorized biography. So, goes through his life. But each one is written by a different author, but they are a part of the same series. So lots of ways to connect your reader, lots of writing you can do, sharing facts. You can do a 3-2-1 where your child lists out maybe 3 facts that are interesting, maybe 2 maybe confusing facts or 2 surprising facts, or you can give it kind of whatever heading you want. And then 1 question. What would they want to still know? Is there something else they're still wondering about the person? I'm drawing a simple web here too. You can also make it like a web, a little bit easier and less paragraph form like, a visual way to keep track of information. You can make it specific like born, childhood, adult years, and an interesting fact or something. Or you can just make it general, whatever they want to pick out from the story. You can also do a little bit of comparison. If you're reading about a sports person, say you do Babe Ruth, you can compare your life with his and make 2 circles, comparing your own life or your child's life, and then in the middle that we both play baseball and we like baseball. On the outside, different things. He played for the Yankees, I played for the local, Tigers or whatever. So another way to incorporate some writing as well. You can figure out some math using what their age, how old the person is when they were born versus now, things like that. You can also delve into their movies or the Yankee sports team, to find out a little bit more and continue your research as well. And then if you are thinking of a crafty kind of thing, if you have not seen biography bottles, it's a great way to take a 2-liter bottle, use some string and yarn, paint, whatever you have lying around in terms of art supplies, and create that bottle into a little miniature person. So a great way to stay connected to famous people and people in history and share the joy of biography, as some people may not pick biography on their own. So hopefully you'll check this Who Was or Who Is series out. We'll see you next time on What's the Story, and happy reading.